Welcome back to The Explainer. So today, we're going to talk about a massive roadblock for self-driving cars, and a really clever fix that, believe it or not, could put the solution right in your hands. So here's the magic number: 1 billion miles. That's the staggering amount of driving data a self-driving car needs to log to prove, without a doubt, that it's safer than a human driver. A billion! Just let that sink in for a second.
So, you gotta ask, right? How on earth do you even begin to collect that much real-world data? How do you get these cars smart enough to handle, well, everything?
Okay, so let's dive into what's known as the billion-mile problem.
All right, to put that into perspective, think about this. For every fatal accident, the average human driver has driven something like 100 million miles. So, for an AI to be better than us, it needs to learn from all the weird, rare, and dangerous stuff that happens over a distance 10 times that. It's all about learning from those edge cases.
And the way we're doing it now, it's just not going to cut it. We've got these small fleets of incredibly expensive, decked-out cars driving around. It's a snail's pace. We're talking just a few million miles a year. And to top it off, every company hoards their own data. It's a siloed, slow-motion race to a finish line that's a billion miles away.
So what if we've been looking at this all wrong? What if there's a totally different way to tackle this? Well, that's where this really cool research project called BigRoad comes into the picture.
The idea behind BigRoad is actually kind of genius in its simplicity. Instead of a few supercars doing all the work, why not get a tiny bit of help from thousands of regular cars? It's basically crowdsourcing for self-driving AI.
And check this out. This is how simple the kit is. Seriously, it's just a smartphone on your dashboard and this little sensor, an IMU, that you stick on the steering wheel. That's it. Suddenly, pretty much any car can become a data-gathering machine.
Okay, so how does this super simple setup actually work? Let's get into the nitty-gritty, because this is where it gets really clever. Basically, the system is grabbing two key pieces of the puzzle at the same time. First, what is the human driver doing? Steering, braking, accelerating. And second, what is the car seeing out the front window that's making the driver do those things? Now, one of the trickiest parts is figuring out the exact angle of the steering wheel without hacking into the car's main computer, which is a big no-no. So the BigRoad team came up with two solutions, one that uses that little IMU sensor, and another that tries to do the job with just the smartphone. And get this. This is my favorite part. This system can tell if the road is wet or dry. Not with the camera, but by analyzing how you brake. See, you naturally brake a little more gently on a wet road, right? The phone's accelerometer picks up on that subtle difference in force. It's basically figuring out road grip by listening to your driving style. How cool is that?
All right, so the theory is fantastic, but does any of this actually work in the real world? Well, the researchers didn't mess around. They tested this kit on over 140 different trips to see what would happen.
And the results for steering? Absolutely incredible. The error was just 0.69 degrees. To give you some context, that's actually more accurate than some of the sensors that come built into cars from the factory. Just wow. And as you can see right here, there's a clear winner. Using the phone by itself is pretty good, don't get me wrong, but adding that little dedicated sensor to the steering wheel, that gives you way more accurate data. It's a huge difference. It wasn't just steering either. The speed readings were also spot on, with an error of just 0.65 kilometers per hour. That's almost twice as accurate as what your phone's GPS can do on its own. Pretty impressive. And remember that wet or dry road trick? Turns out, after analyzing just 15 times someone braked in the certain area, the system could figure out the road condition with 95% accuracy. That's amazing! So, the sensors are accurate, that's awesome. But that leads to the million-dollar question, or maybe the billion-mile question. Is this data actually good enough to train a self-driving AI? Because, let's be honest, this is the real test. If an AI can't learn from this data, then the whole thing is just a neat party trick. So, can you really teach an AI how to steer a car using this simple kit? So here's what they did. They trained two different AIs. AI number 1 got the perfect, pristine data, straight from the car's own computer, the ground truth. AI number 2, it only got data from the BigRoad kit. And the result? Well, their performance was practically identical. The difference between what the two AIs predicted for steering was less than a single degree. I mean, that's the proof right there.
This cheap, easy-to-scale BigRoad system can generate data that's good enough to train a real-deal self-driving AI. It's not just a theory, it actually works.
And this is a huge deal. The researchers even said it themselves in their paper. This is the first study to show you can collect useful self-driving data with just a minimal set of add-on devices. We're talking about a potential game changer for how we solve this whole data problem.
So it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What if the key to cracking the billion-mile problem isn't building more of those super expensive test cars? What if the key is already out there, in millions of regular cars, just waiting for us to unlock it?